Hello and welcome to this lecture where we are just continuing with what we explored when we're explaining when it comes to creating a group policy. There's a key thing here that we need to just make sure that we understand when it comes to security and scripts. So as a system administrator, you might be asked that, or it might be a requirement that you need to be creating script, logon script, or certain kind of scripts that kick in or take action whenever someone logs in. And the script could be used for various use cases. Now, some of the things that we just need to double check is to see where those are in their group policy editor and then how those are managed. So when you want to look at some of the security settings, they would normally be in policies and it would be in Windows settings, and we have the scripts. You'd realize that in the computer configuration section we have scripts for startup scripts and shutdown scripts. And in the user configuration, when you go to policies and you go to Windows settings, we have Windows logon scripts and logoff scripts. So what's the difference between these two scripts? Basically, they're straightforward. But these scripts, the startup scripts, are scripts that normally kick in whenever a machine starts up. What are some of the use cases that you'd use a startup script for? The key differences are self-explanatory. Startup scripts will be scripts that are targeted towards the computer itself. So whenever the computer starts up, those scripts are activated. They run under the local system account, which have full system rights, and it's triggered by the computer starting up. So for instance, if you wanted to have a script that will map a network drive to all computers, you can use a startup script. If you want to deploy software to all computers in your network, you can use a startup script. If your system needs some sort of system-wide configuration settings that are requiring to modify registry keys, you can use a startup script. But logon scripts would be when it comes to the same, like for instance, when it comes to mapping drives again, but you want to map a drive to a specific user. So when this specific user logs in, you want this drive to be mapped. Maybe it's a drive related to maybe the sales and marketing department. Then that's when you use a logon script, which only triggers when the specific user logs on. You can use logon script for specific user-specific settings, like for instance, printer setup, desktop customization, and application launch. Maybe you want these kinds of applications to automatically open whenever the user logs on. These are the things that you need to be familiar with when it comes to scripts, from a computer configuration side of things and the user configuration side of things. Remember that both of these scripts can be written in various scripting languages, such as normally I would go for batch files or PowerShell. Older system administrators will be going with batch files. To be honest, they'll use Notepad and Notepad++ to be writing those. But modern system administrations will be familiar with using PowerShell, which we'll be exploring in other sections of this video. Security point of view would be related to things to do with password. When it comes to password deployment, what are some of the password policies that affect either user or computer? We'll have a look at that in a few seconds. So when you go to Windows settings, security settings, I'll go to security settings here. You'd realize from a computer configuration side of things, we have a vast amount of security settings as compared to user configuration. So as and when you know what requirements you want to set. If it's to do with password, if it's to do with account policies, if it's to do with security system settings, then obviously you have a mountain of options to configure when it comes to computer configuration. And at the user level, you don't really have a lot. Anyway, what are some of the things that you can do when it comes to security settings at the computer configuration? Some of the things that you can do would be when it comes to passwords. So for instance, account policies, password policy. So when I open this, you have the option to enforce password history, what's the maximum password age, how long can someone have a password, things like that. At the moment, these are not defined. We'll be configuring some of these things in the next video where we will be setting a custom policy to do certain things and then we'll test it. So these are some of the things that I would just touch on when it comes to security and settings. As a system administrator, this should be at your fingertips. Another thing you can talk about is when it comes to lockup policy, how many times can a user enter the policy? How many times can a user enter the password incorrectly? You can set that here. When the user set it incorrectly, after say 3 times, the account should lock out. This is where you set it up, and it is at a computer level. It's not a user level. So whoever tries to log in into the computer, if they have their password typed in wrongly, it should lock them out, and then they'll have to contact you to unlock the account. So these are the key things that I would just be touching on. But you can see there's a whole lot of things that you can play around. It's just basically opening them and seeing what options are there, and then it's up to you to manage them. For instance, this one that I have open now, account lockout duration. If I double click it, it gives you define the policy settings. Account is locked out after say 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes it would unlock itself. But normally, whatever your company policy is, it could be maybe 1 hour. So if someone types in their password incorrectly, it should be after an hour before the account itself is unlocked. And whenever you open any policy to manage, you have the explanation that tells you. So this security setting determines the number of minutes a locked account remains locked out before automatically becoming unlocked. Just like that, right? I'm going to cancel this. And when you go to password policy, how many enforced password history. So like you can't use the keep password history for 2 passwords. So it means whenever you try to put in a new password and it's within this two past password that you've used, it would say no, you can't use this. If you go to the explanation section, it will give you that information. I just thought I would create a new video to just explain this, because these are some of the key things that you might be asked during interviews, and it's basically grand to understand how they work when it comes to security and scripts. The other thing I didn't touch on is how to generate some of those scripts. Now, some of those scripts, you need to have a skill of how to script. Scripting is a skill that you can learn, and you need to just know how to write them. And we'll be exploring some of those basically in the upcoming videos when it comes to PowerShell. But easily, we live in the world of AI. You can basically go to ChatGPT or Copilot and just give it the context and get it to generate a script for you, and then you can just test and see if it works and modify as you see fit. So that's all I have for this, and I'll see you in the next video where we are going to come back to this, and we'll basically create at least 4 configurations within the sales and marketing domain policy, and then we'll test it and we'll get a user to log on and see how that propagates. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.